Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again. Here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing probably my last top 10 video, at least seemingly. The last one was supposed to be the last one, but people did want to see another one. This one was requested by Jacob Hutchinson. I want to thank you for that, viewer of my channel. And basically what he wants to know, and other people thumbed it up, so thank you guys for thumbing it up too and letting me know. People wanted to see what are the 10 best changes from the Walking Dead comic book series to the AMC Walking Dead television series. So, let's do it. Okay, so the top 10 best changes from the comic book series to the television series. Let's get started. First thing I really want to say is that I think one of the best things about the AMC Walking Dead television series is that they actually decided not to make it the same as the comic book series, because it would have been really easy for them to do it just like a manga or anime, where they basically take the manga or the comic book, in other words in Japan, and they make a show with it. In most cases anime would be like a cartoon, which is not that popular in North America. So we do live action, they do anime most of the time for these types of things. I mean, sometimes you'll have like direct DVD releases, but those don't usually do very well. But you'll see basically the same thing, just translated to another form. So you'll take it from a page in a comic book or manga, and you'll translate that or transfer it directly into a cartoon anime show. Which the events are exactly the same aside from what they call filler. Everything, the base story is exactly the same. The Walking Dead series, television series, is much better because they change it versus just keeping it the same. It is kind of boring to read something in a comic book and know exactly what's going to happen next, and then watch the television series and have that thing play out exactly as you know it's going to. It takes the suspense away. It takes the excitement away. And it makes it, completely predictable to the point where, like for example, I do video predictions for a lot of the episodes of The Walking Dead. And if we knew exactly what was going to happen anyway, there'd be no reason to do predictions, which is something that occurs with Game of Thrones. There's no reason to do predictions for the episodes, because if you just read the book, you know about what they're going to do next. You know what essentially is going to happen next in the story. And that's boring as hell when you've already read the comics or read the book. So I'm glad they did not do that. I'll say that right off the bat. So without further ado, let's get into the list. We'll start off with number 10, the 10th best change, going all the way through to the absolute best. So number 10 is going to be Rick goes full-on retard, full-on crazy, full retard, after losing Lori. Now, this one, he did kind of in the comic book series go a little crazy with the phone. If you guys remember bringing the phone around with him and thinking he was talking to Lori when he was on the phone. But I liked in the television series how they took it a step further to the point where he was like a useless character to the group. He was not a leader anymore, and he was just aimlessly walking around outside to the point where it actually put him in danger when Martinez shot at him and the governor attacked. Partially because he was supposed to be on watch or whatever, and he was just aimlessly, uselessly just walking around, kind of, just like chasing after Lori's ghost. Plus the part where he loses his mind when Tyrese comes and he starts, shouting and waving the gun, and he can see her up behind him there and everything in the dark. I really liked how they expanded on that whole Rick losing his mind thing, because it makes it feel more legit. It's like, yeah, this was his wife, Yes, it's tragic in the comic book series, and you can see the phone thing, but I really feel like they brought it to life even better by expanding that and having him just really go kind of nuts for a while, and become, have, hallucinations of seeing her and all these things and just walking around. And it really tied in nicely with the episode where Andrea is being chased by the governor, and Rick sees her, but then the governor tackles her, and he just thinks it's one of those, his visions again, one of his hallucinations. So that was brilliant writing, how they tied that in. Man, that's really brilliant, because it's like, yeah, he would just think he's imagining seeing her there. he probably sees her, and then after he's like, oh yeah, it's just my, my my hallucinations again. So I think that was pretty brilliant how they wrote that all in with Prey and everything. Some really good writing in season 3. So that's number 10, Rick going full on crazy. Number 9 is Rick's group actually defends the prison. Now, granted, in the comic book series, they did defend it once, kind of, but it wasn't like the governor just left them alone in the comic book series. They had somewhat defended it, but then he went out a little bit and came right back after with, the tank and everything like that, almost right away. Whereas in the television series, that's changed greatly because he becomes a team killer, kills all the people on his team, and ends up leaving with Schumpert and Martinez, and basically deserts Woodbury. So for me, I thought them actually defending the prison instead of losing it all was a nice twist to see. I mean, it would have been cool to see a bloodbath with all kinds of characters dying and things like that. But I did like the twist that the governor becomes a team killer and he doesn't defeat them at the prison. He actually loses, even though he's got them outnumbered. We get the sense that the survivors, Rick's group, the survivors are more hardened than the people in Woodbury. So I like that they were able to fend him off, and then he's got to leave and lick his wounds afterwards. So that's number 9. Number 8 is Michonne's entrance. Really simple. When we meet Michonne in the TV series, I remember when that happened in the finale of season 2, saving Andrea like that, that was one of the most badass scenes in all of The Walking Dead. Very excited to see that a lot. Now the comic book was kind of interesting too, but she kind of just like strolls in. This was better because it was like climactic, save. And I mean, it got everybody really excited for season 3, and people just like, I did a video like, who is Michonne, just like a character spotlight, and just because of that, people were so excited. It got almost 1 million views. It got like 900,000 views. That's how many people were like, who is this Michonne character? That's how great that intro was, that people just couldn't wait to find out who she was and everything. So that just tells you right there, just based on some of the videos I do, I can kind of tell where interest is. So that really shows right there that interest was there, and people were like, really, that entrance was great for Michonne. So I really like that a lot. Number 7 is the CDC. Yeah, going way back to season 1. Well, the CDC, they never went there in the comic book series. And it makes sense that they would try to go there. It's a good idea. It makes sense. I liked Dr. Jenner. He was fun and crazy, and I still to this day I can't decide if Jenner was right or wrong. I mean, it depends on characters. I would say for someone like Andrea, Dale kind of screwed her over. So anyway, I don't want the video to be too long, so I won't elaborate too much on it, but I really did enjoy the whole CDC. I thought it was a great season 1 finale, and it was a nice addition that we never had in the comic book series. A new environment. Any new environments I find really fun to see what they look like, to meet new characters, and the mad scientist, Jenner, was a fun character. I liked him a lot. Number 6 is Sophia. The way they handled Sophia. Great change from the comic book series. Sophia in the comic book series is useless. She's been useless since like, I don't know, issue 20 or something. She has not done anything useful at all. And at this point, the comic book series has literally faded into the background where she doesn't even really get time on the pages anymore. We'll have an issue of The Walking Dead, and Sophia will not even be in it at all. There may be like a couple things like her and Carl saying goodbye. I think that was like 10 or 20 issues ago. But then since then, she's basically useless. So I like that in the TV series they used her for a story arc, and the way the barn worked out was really brilliant. So she's got to be on there. Sophia as one of the best changes, her death and everything from season 2. All right, also what she does to Carol as her mom, I like that a lot too, because that kind of like, that struggle for her and hardening and everything, I mean, losing her daughter, yeah, man, that's dark. Well, I did like it though, even though it's really dark. So now we're in the top 5. So the number 5 is going to be The Governor Survives. Okay, so a lot of people were disappointed with the season 3 finale. They wanted to see the governor die when the whole battle went down. But I feel like it's a good change to let him survive for a while. Pull him into the background a bit. Let him come back in season 4 and have him just really want revenge to the point where he's just messing with Rick's group. have Rick's group maybe, you know, be trying to get supplies and things like that and be doing their stuff. And in the meantime, you have the governor, you know, planning some mischief against them and stuff. And we'll see that resolved, I think, in season 4. I don't think he'll survive through season 4. But I think it was a smart move to not kill him at the end of season 3, because it makes it even more interesting for season 4 that we have such a well-developed villain like Negan or like the governor in the Walking Dead series. Because, I mean, that's really what it's all about. The zombies and the survivors, just those two elements right there, that's not as interesting as when you have other survivors that are even way more dangerous than zombies, like the governor, and really want revenge against these people. So I think that was a good change. They're keeping him alive for a while, because it makes me even more stoked for season 4 to see what happens with that. Okay, number 4 is putting Andrea in Woodbury. I thought this was a great change. I mean, that was really an interesting twist. I mean, in the comic book series, it was always weird that she was with Dale, I thought, you know, because he's old and she's not that old, so it was strange. And you know, I don't know. I felt like this made a lot more sense. It added a lot more drama to season 3. It was a lot more interesting, because it's like wow, she's torn between groups, and just her struggle and what happens at the end and her demise. I don't necessarily like the death. I would like to see her survive on, but I think that the whole switching around of having her go to Woodbury with Michonne, have Michonne be the one that comes to Rick's group, and just be kind of in between, I thought was really interesting and a lot of fun. So that one for me is going to be number 4. Number 3 is Rick gets to keep his hand, at least so far. Good change, good change. The comic book series, every time I read the comic book series, I always have to remind myself, oh yeah, that's right, Rick doesn't have one hand. He's missing a hand. I keep forgetting that, you know, and it's like, which Rick do I like better now? Because the Rick from the television series, Andrew Lincoln's a great actor, and his struggle after the death of Lori was amazing to see, and he's got both hands, so he's still badass. You know, because when you only have one hand, you're not going to be as tough as you would have been if you had two. You're handicapped. Yeah. So I like the change that let Rick keep his hand, at least for a while. Maybe next season, but I hope he gets to keep his hand just permanently. They did the hand thing with Merle, so leave it alone with Rick. Let him keep both hands. I like it better that way. It's good. Number 2, the second best change from the comic book series to the television series, without a doubt, has to be the addition of the Dixon brothers, both Daryl and Merle. I put them together as just one because they are brothers and it makes sense. That's second. That's second best change. This one, I don't need to explain this. You know, they're great additions. Both Daryl and Merle are amazing, especially Daryl, fan favorite. People love him. Norman Reedus is awesome. And then Merle, too. I thought he was really interesting. The hand blade thing was really cool for season 3. He was a badass character. He went out in a blaze of glory at the end. What else can you ask for? Amazing stuff. I love both the Dixon brothers. Thought they were great. To the point where they've even done the video game, one of the video games of The Walking Dead about them. Survival Instinct, I think it was called. Yeah, it should be. So yeah, I mean, number 2, runner-up, Dixon brothers. Awesome. Okay, and number 1, the best change from the comic book series to the television series is, drumroll, Shane. Yep, everything to do with Shane. Keeping Shane alive for another season, letting to see that struggle, save the last one, shooting Otis in the leg, slowly progressing to become a antagonist for the series. Coming from being Rick's best friend from like the first scene of the first season where we see them, not the very first one, but like I think the second scene of episode 1 where he's like sitting in the car with Rick and they're just eating like fast food, like junk food, like burgers and fries and stuff. And then they get a call and they gotta go and everything, and they're talking about Lori. I think they were talking about Lori. And just that whole struggle from the beginning of there until the end of season 2, and even the haunting of him looking like he was Martinez in season 3, everything to do with Shane, the way they handled him. He was such a basic and simple character in the comic book series, was not all that interesting, was gone in the first trade paperback, and we barely thought of him again. Maybe a little bit when Rick went to put him down. But John Bernthal's the man. And all of season 2 was like Shane's season, you know. He was the first character to switch over to that darker side that you basically have to become in a zombie apocalypse, where Rick even has now become that. We got to see that in season 3 where he split Thomas straight in the head with a machete. Lots of different things that he's done now just proves that really Shane was the first to really, switch over to that side and adapt faster and evolve in that way faster. Just unfortunate that even though he wanted to kill Rick, he was not able to do it when the time came to be, because he still cared about him and he still loved him. So that was amazing, man. All of season 2, season 1, everything to do with Shane, for me, is the best change. His struggle, even though he hasn't even been in season 3 or anything, and that was like the beginning, it's something you could go back and watch, and you still get that emotional tie from. Frank Darabont was the man when it came to creating emotional bonds between characters, just like the Shawshank Redemption, just the master of that. So that edition for me was the best change in all of it. These are my thoughts, though. Of course, you guys may have a different priority list, or you may think that maybe the Dixon brothers should be number 1 because Daryl and Merle are that awesome, which I can understand. But for me, the best change is the changes they made to Shane, John Berthol's character. Awesome stuff. Great video suggestion. Thank you guys very much for voting that up. And the suggester, Jason, thank you for that. And that's pretty much all I got to say about this one. If you guys have any other ideas for top 10 lists, I won't say that I'm ruling them out again, because, again, it's pretty cool that you guys can come up with topics when I'm dry, when I don't have any topics to come up with. So, anyway, one of the longest videos I've done in a while. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you have any other ideas, please send them to me. Please vote them up if you see them in the comments, if you see something you want to see made into a video. And I've always said, I do read them, I do go through them, especially when I'm out of ideas. It's really cool that you guys can give me some ideas. Keep me going, at least with making some videos. Anyway, I'll call it here. Thanks for watching, guys. That's it for this video. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev. I'm saying peace.